Welcome to the 3MP corporate headquarters. We're joining you here this afternoon with a special guest, a business associate of mine, well known to most of you, I imagine, as well. We've got from Southern States Pro Wrestling, we've got Josh Wheeler here today. Josh, what's going on? What are we doing here? What brings you and I together like this?
Well, a lot of business, as you know, you are the business, so to speak. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Jimmy Rave Cup and to give everyone at home a lowdown on who's in the tournament, who's been invited, how the tournament will work, and what the tournament will actually mean going forward. The biggest thing is the winner of the first ever Jimmy Rave Cup will be the very first SSP champion, and I know that excites you.
I get just the idea of gold, Josh, excites me. Gold coming to 3MP is more exciting, and so I've got questions. I want to know who's competing. I want to know how this is working and what are the rules of the tournament. Then I also may have a proposition for you later on, and maybe a solution to some of your problems.
That sounds good. So, do we want to start with how it's going to work, or do we want to start who's in it?
I think we start with the rules. All right, I need to know what's going on. There's triangle matches. There's square, quadrilateral match. I don't know what's going on. I need to know the rules because you can't win if you don't know the rules.
Well, to start off, it will be 12 competitors in the tournament.
Right.
There's 12 competitors in the tournament. I will rephrase that again multiple times.
12 competitors in the tournament.
Then each first round matchup will be considered a Triangle Madness match, which is a match that we've kind of created in the honor of Jimmy Rave, where the higher seeded person will select who starts in the three-way. So two guys have to be in the ring at all times. Mm-hmm. Tags must be made. You must be legal to be in the match.
Got it.
And it will be elimination style.
Elimination style. So really the first two guys in the ring are a little bit of a disadvantage because one of them is out if they can't tag.
No, if they get pinned or submitted or disqualified or right. Yes. Well, yes. So yes, the person on the outside does not have to tag in if they choose not to.
There's quite a bit of strategy.
So it's going to be a very interesting first round, and once that happens, the winners of the first round matchups will then face in the semifinals and the finals. And of course, the winner will be the first ever Jimmy Rave Cup winner and the very first SSP champion. 2 years in the making. I know you've been there since Combine Day 1.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and let's meet the 11 guys that have been selected, and I'll talk to you about the 12th guy as well.
There's a potential 12th candidate. All right. So I'm assuming we'll have 4 triangle matches in round 1. The winner of each of those 4 matches will then square off one-on-one in a semifinal, and then the champion will be crowned in the final one-on-one.
Right. So the winning person could have a minimum of three matches that night.
Okay. Now the 12 combatants, these guys are seated.
They will be seated. These are all based on win-loss records in SSP competition the last 2 years.
Okay.
Again, we're going back to Combine Day 1 for this, as well as there are 3 special invites in this tournament.
Okay. So, well, I think it goes without saying. Obviously, KJ Impala and full-time Frankie Filto should get 2 invites.
So, unfortunately, on February 4th, they have prior business to take care of. They were not invited to the Jimmy Rave Cup.
Who do we got then, Josh? If we get the main eventers out, who's fighting for this secondary prize? All right. So, Josh, let's pump the brakes here a little bit, all right? Before we get into the participants in the Jimmy Rave Cup, seriously, I want you to talk a little bit about why it's called the Jimmy Rave Cup, Josh. I had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy a few times. I know that you have a long history and friendship with him. What is the significance of the Jimmy Rave Cup to crown our first champion?
So, for those that do not know, Southern States Pro Wrestling is a derivative of the old Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, which was founded by 4 people, 2 of which are still active, 1 of which has since retired, and the other one being Jimmy Rave, who has since passed away. Jimmy Rave is by far considered the very best professional wrestler in the history of the South in the modern era. When I say modern era, I mean from 2001 until today. We don't discount anything that came before us in WCW era, so that's kind of like how we view the modern era. You could make your arguments for AJ Styles. I get it, but Jimmy Rave was the man. He was the very first Georgia Wrestling Crown champion, which was our title in Atlanta Wrestling entertainment history. He was undefeated for over 300 plus days before losing that championship.
This isn't Roman Reigns undefeated wrestling
No,
three times a year. This guy is going out and grinding.
Jimmy Rave wrestled
times a week.
Yeah, he wrestled over 300 matches that year. He defended the belt, I want to say like 14 times in that span of being the champion. He did help found our company and gave a lot for professional wrestling. He has trained and mentored so many guys in this business. And when he passed away, it kind of took a little bit of our I don't want to say soul, but it took a lot from us, which is why we decided to rebrand as Southern States Pro in an effort to honor him. And this is to continue honoring the professional wrestling legacy that was Jimmy Rave's. So that, therefore, this is the Jimmy Rave Cup, but it will also be the first annual Jimmy Rave Cup. We will be looking to do this every February going forward to start our calendar years after this year is over.
I love it. All right, so on to the fun stuff. Monkey Wrench Brewery in Suwanee, Georgia, Sunday, February 4th. 4 triangle matches in round 1.
Yes.
Semifinal in round 2. Championship match to crown the first champion.
Yes.
Who are we seeing? It ain't the Dicks, unfortunately. We'll defend our tag team titles, and we'll have a couple of Monkey Wrench brews, and we'll cheer on whoever else I decide to associate myself with. But who do we have, Josh? What do we got?
Well, after a long meeting with the championship committee, we settled on the number 1 seed being Bryce Cannon, the frat daddy. Came to Southern States Pro in the very first Combine Day. I don't want to say Combat Day. Combine Day. Showed out with his tag team partner, Zach Mosley, against Top Team. And from that point forward, made Exotic Youth the thing in tag team wrestling, but then decided to come back in 2023 as a singles competitor and has been on a hell of a run.
Yeah.
He has defeated the Kinway. He has defeated the Kinway and Duncan Abasia in a 3-way, and just recently he defeated Chip Day in the Georgia Wrestling Match of the Year. Without a doubt, the Frat Daddy has earned the number 1 seed, and he will be the person with the target on his back going into this tournament.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. From Combine Day number 1, when he broke the paddle on Mosley's head, which was one of the wildest things I ever saw. You knew the kid had it, with his pop collars and his pointed tip. It was just waiting to explode, and he's done so here in Southern States. And again, a lot of times it's been at my expense, my team's expense, but I can't argue the kid's number 1. So Bryce Cannon is the number 1 seed in the Jimmy Rave Cup. Good for Bryce.
And with him being the number 1 seed, he automatically went to face the wild card winner, which we'll discuss a little bit later on about how that is going to give him a little bit of an advantage.
Okay, so wild card winner will, okay, so seeding, all right, so 1 versus 12. That makes sense. All right, and someone else be sprinkled in there. All right, so then I guess number 2, the guy that we're expecting a lot out of next is a guy that we've been getting a lot out of for a long time. I've had history with the guy, good and bad. Who do we got at number 2, Josh?
Number 2, I mean, you just gave us a little bit of teaser. Number 2 will be Chip Day. Pound for pound, when he's on his game, as you'll agree with me on that, he is the best professional wrestler in the Southeast.
He is. He is Southeastern Wrestling when he's on
exactly. He is Southeastern Wrestling. He is a former 2-time Georgia Wrestling Crown champion in the Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment legacy, and now he wants to set up being, honoring his mentor. Jimmy Rave was his mentor, one of his wrestling uncles. So, I mean, we all know what Jimmy meant to Chip. He was one of the original Jimmy Rave approved members.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this tournament means a lot to Chip personally, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how Chip comes out in this tournament And again, the setup with the three ways and then the semi and this
A lot of work.
singles, this is a thing that could really benefit someone like Chip Day.
It's a lot of way to think for Chip as well. Coming off that match of the year against Bryce Cannon, he was on the losing end of that match. He now starts off on the opposite end of the bracket from Bryce. You wonder how much Chip is thinking about that potential main event for the title, and you hope it doesn't get in his way in the early rounds.
That is true, and that's something that's always bothered Chip Day is he always looks ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's been something in his career, his whole career. He always looks ahead. So it's going to be very, very pivotal for Chip Day and even for his coach, Murder One. You know, Chip's back with the hierarchy. And anytime he's with the hierarchy, he's been a very dangerous competitor. So for Murder One and Chip Day to get on the same page and say, hey, focus, you know, as the shirt says, you have unfinished business.
I gave Chip one of those a couple
so-
years ago. I think he wiped his ass with it. But whatever. He's back where he belongs with the hierarchy. So, and I got a feeling we're going to hear that word hierarchy a few more times today as we get through this list. So, what do we got next? Who's coming in at the third seed today, Josh?
The third seed for the Jimmy Rave Cup will be a former best friend of Jimmy Rave, Sal Renaro. Someone that you know very well, someone that we've witnessed a lot in SSP. He's been a judge of both Combine days.
Yep.
He works all over the entire United States of American professional wrestling. He's been killing it in the NWA for the last few years.
Yep.
Sal Renaro is a veteran's veteran, a wrestler's wrestler, and again, someone that has a lot of personal mission with this being the Jimmy Rave Cup. Sal is by far, outside of maybe Chip Day, best pound-for-pound wrestler in this tournament. And it's going to be very exciting to see what Sal Renaro can do with, again, another tournament that could be set up for his success. Those three ways, there's a lot of strategy played in those three ways, but I think Sal's a very, very astute student of the game.
Yeah, and without seeing the rest of the list, I imagine that Sal is probably the most experienced guy on the list, right? That experience, that patience, and then over the last several months, I don't know if it was his new haircut or what, but there's a little bit more savagery to Sal's game, I've noticed, and so it could be a wild card there.
I kind of agree with you. He's a little off kilter.
Always.
He's a lot off kilter. But also the thing about Sal that people forget is he's coming off a massive injury. So this is a way for him to take what happened in 2023, where he had to sit out for 6 months and just study and scout and just rehab, and then say, hey, 2024 can be the best year of a very great career for Sal Renaro. And it starts off February 4th at Monkey Wrench Brewing.
That's exciting. All right, let's take a little break because I need another beer. All right. We knew we were going to hear the word hierarchy a few times today. All right. Where are we at number 4 in the Jimmy Rave Cup?
I would be
Overall seed.
You said the hierarchy, probably the most dangerous person in this tournament, the killer, Joe Black. I mean, there's so much you can say about Joe Black, but I, again, go to the Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment legacy when he was the Georgia Wrestling Crown champion, and his battles, his absolute strong style battles with AEW star Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
They say iron sharpens iron. Joe was sharpened in those battles with Eddie Kingston to the point where this tournament for him, I mean, he's a 4th seed, which puts him in his own little triangle madness that he can, you know, kind of like fit to his mold.
He gets a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, always.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he scares the hell out of me, to be honest.
Now, my only concern with Joe, and one of the reasons why his seed is a 4 and not a little higher, he's been very tag team focused through the last few months in 2023. Him and Murder One forming quite the accomplished tag team. But again, that's the right hand to the supreme leader, so to speak. And we see how dangerous he can be when he's healthy. And just a few months ago in SSP, what he did to Trey Havoc.
Yeah.
I mean, just
It's not a
beating
slouch.
the crap out of him, you know, refusing the match and then just beating the crap out of him. And there for a while, it looked like Joe was just Mr. Respect. But I mean, when he's on, we go to this match with Kenway a few months ago before Kenway joined the hierarchy. Just
Kenway earned his beat.
He did. He definitely did. And I don't think Joe's going to be giving out beads. I think Joe's gunning for the top spot. And I think he wants to be that first SSP champion because we're talking about the legacy of Jimmy Rave. That first champion can set the tone for the entire company going forward. And we know Joe loves to be a cornerstone, so to speak.
Yeah, and you mentioned him wrestling tag team matches, a bulk of 2023. They were very, very successful tag team matches. And
Yes.
one ran around the South and just collected titles.
Multiple
And
titles.
so once you get that taste of blood and that taste of success, I don't know. I don't sort of see that as a drawback. And I know Joe won't either. He's going to be fired up.
Now, let me ask you this. It's looking like the brackets are set up that in the second round, if Joe wins his and Chip wins his, that's a potential second round matchup right there.
That'd be an instant classic.
So just throw that out there.
So, being a businessman, and I know Murder One is a businessman, just bigger and stronger. Where does Murder One sit in a match like that?
He sits on the top of the stage and enjoys the hell out of it with a nice monkey wrench brew. But then he's got another person in there, and then I guess we'll go ahead and jump to seed number 5, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, who we got?
You know very well, the Kenway.
Kenway. The Kenway. I tell you, the one that got away. I since I first laid eyes on Kenway when he had that tramp following him around the district. That guy's got all the potential in the world. He's
So much.
a couple of years away and came back more mature, more focused, bigger, stronger, faster, and way more dangerous. The guy, talk about comeback of the year.
Oh, he's
Unheard of, unreal.
he was retired
Yeah.
last year, came to Combine Day, had the possibly, in my opinion, one of the best matches in Georgia wrestling last year against Lucky Ali, who's now signed to NXT, I might add. That match was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then to come from that and then to go through what he went through, the match with Joe, finally getting that victory, and then getting the 2-finger salute bestowed upon him, the beads, being showered with that, but then running into the buzzsaw that is Duncan in Dallas, and then on top of that, now the losing streak he's on. That's a dangerous competitor going into this tournament.
Mhm.
He's seeded number 5, which again, that could be a little tricky area right there.
Josh, I wonder, again, business wise, I wonder if Kenway's getting the love he needs. Like you said, Murder, he's got a lot on his hands. He's got Joe and he's got Chip, and they've got that long bond. I just wonder if Kenway is getting the attention, the mentoring, the coaching, the representation that a guy with that type of talent really deserves.
I think it's a valid question. I think we're going to find out in the tournament because, again, you've got now 3 members of the hierarchy in this tournament.
It's a quarter of the competitors.
Right. So you were looking at, and then we don't even know what the wild card could be. I mean, someone in the hierarchy could be the wild card.
Murder One.
Exactly. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
But we do know there's also a potential 2 other people that have hierarchy ties in this tournament that I'm going to get to very shortly.
All right. I love that. So we've gone through the top 5 seeds. So we're almost halfway home. We're coming at number 6. Who do we have sitting at number 6 on February 4th at Monkey Wrench Brewery for the Jimmy Rave Cup in the first championship?
The last top seed, the 6th seed, is a guy that you know all too well. Some know him as Duncan Mitchell. We know him as Duncan Abasia now, thanks to you, of course.
I own Duncan Mitchell.
You own the name. You legally took the name. But he is now christened himself, his family heritage, Duncan Abasia. He has been... Talk about potential. You go to the first Combine Day, and you see what he does in that match with Chip Day, where he pulls the upset of the century. Literally. I know it's still early in 2000s, but that's perhaps could be the biggest upset in the history of Georgia wrestling going forward.
I remembered. I was there.
No one knew who he was, and he beats Chip Day. Then he goes on I hate to use the term rampage, but a rampage over the entire singles scene before forming a tag team with Aaron Dallas. They feud with Exotic Youth. They're the first tag team champions. The only reason they're not the tag team champions today is because of you. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the only reason they would have been the tag team champions would be because of me also.
It's quite possible.
Yeah.
But then we see what just happened at our first Monkey Wrench Brewing show back in December. Some discontent going on with Duncan.
So Josh, I went really hard trying to provide an opportunity to Duncan and to Dallas. And Duncan, at times, I thought he saw the light. At other times, I thought I was speaking to dead eyes. And on on that night at Monkey Wrench Brewing, when he attacked the Northside Heroes from behind, that was a surprise to me. Now, I haven't spoken to Duncan or his father, or I haven't even spoken to his mother. I had Lloyd compose an email and shoot that off to him, but we've got no response. I have no idea where the kid's head's at, and honestly, I think that makes him more dangerous.
I kind of agree with you. It's going to be a very tough scenario now that he's a 6 seed, because now he's guaranteed to face either a Bryce or a Chip in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
which could be very dangerous. Now, again, the thing about the higher seeds, Bryce and Chip being first and second seed, they'll get to choose who's in their Triangle Madness. So
Is that how it works?
that's how it's going to work. So not only do they get to choose who starts in, they're going to get to choose who they wrestle in their first. So if Bryce Kano wants to face 11 and the wild card, he surely can. But if he wants to face that 6th seed and that 12th seed, he surely can't. I mean, that's kind of the thing about this tournament. So interesting is Bryce gets to choose his match first, and then Chip will choose his match, and then everything else will be seeded randomly.
Now, the match choices, is this happening at the event, or are these guys going to have time to prepare?
They'll have time to prepare.
They'll have time to-
Well, except for Bryce. I mean, Bryce is guaranteed to face a wild card winner,
And then he gets to
and then he gets to pick the other person,
okay.
which we'll get into the wild card winner here in just a little bit.
Okay.
Now we have what we call some special invites. These are not seated people.
Okay.
These are special invited from the championship matchmaking committee.
Okay. And let's see.
I mean, I can go ahead and give you the first one if you'd like it.
You know what? Why don't you give me the first 4, and then I'll give you one.
Okay. So the first of the special invites is a former Murder One trainee, a man that has all the credentials in the world, a former Impact Wrestling star. He's been seen on Ring of Honor and AEW. He is Caleb Conley. That's a big one there because, again, it's trained by Murder One. He's never thrown the 2-finger salute.
How much does Murder One pay you? Just out of curiosity.
He doesn't pay me anything.
His deck is stacked now.
It's not that it's stacked. It's the Jimmy Rave Cup, and the Supreme Leader has a lot of credibility when it comes to making that legacy.
That's a 4 out of 12, so 33%.
It's about to get a little bit crazier.
Who else?
The next special invite, someone that we know very well in the city of Atlanta and someone that is known very well in our universe, a former Georgia Wrestling Crown champion, the man who defeated Jimmy Rave for that championship, Martin Stone. I'm so happy to see Martin come back. You seem a little... Are you not excited to see Martin?
No, I'm not excited about how this field is playing out. That's all right.
I mean, he is a former hierarchy member.
He's a former hierarchy member,
He's a former Georgia Wrestling Crown champion.
former Georgia Wrestling Crown champion,
He's the man that beat Jimmy Rave to end his undefeated streak.
ended Jimmy Rave's undefeated streak. I'm excited for the competition. It's going to be great competition.
He's
I'm
a
not
former
excited-
NXT tag champion.
Oh, he was the what the heck was he called in NXT?
Danny Burch.
Danny Burch. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, great competition. I'm thinking more selfishly here, Josh. I'm thinking more selfishly about the hill that's going to have to be climbed for anyone outside of the hierarchy to win this thing.
Well, I have another special invite.
Okay.
He is 1-0 in Southern States Pro competition now. He just defeated the Kinway at our last event at Monkey Ridge Brewing. And on February 4th, he is in the tournament. He is Ashton Starr.
Ashton's always in a great mood, great energy, amazing athlete. That's a great addition to the field, and it's a fair addition to the field.
I agree.
So I think that it'll provide a ton of excitement. Ashton, I mean, he's a freak athlete.
He
The
is.
things that man can do, they're like, holy cow.
And I've been able to witness Ashton's rise from 2015 all the way to today. This guy was wrestling women when he first started in the Roar division in 2015. And then to see where he is now, almost 40 pounds of more muscle put on him. He's grew in his entire physical stature. He's closing. He's in that peak performance age. If we're talking about the age curve in sports,
And he's not old.
And
You
he
talk
looks
about 2015.
fantastic.
It seems a long time. Actually, he's not an old man.
He looks
He's at a young
fantastic.
age. He's really growing into himself. So that's great. So all right, I'm excited. Excited to see Ashton be there.
So we've only got 2 left. I mean, do you want the other special invite? You said you had a little surprise for me.
I have a surprise for you.
What you got?
So I have formed great relationships. There's one point when Murder One voided all contracts, and I made the statement: you can void contracts, but you can't void relationships.
That is true.
So on Sunday, February 4th, at Monkey Wrench Brewing in Suwanee, Georgia, I made a call to a friend of mine, a former associate, someone who you may know from Ring of Honor wrestling. Someone you may know.
Now, I did know that we were in negotiations with getting a Ring of Honor representative because of the Jimmy Rave legacy. Ring of Honor is a huge part of that.
Yep. Don't worry, Josh. I took care of it.
Okay, so you got a Ring of Honor representative.
Carly Bravo
Oh, no way.
will be representing 3MP and Associates in the Jimmy Rave Cup for the championship on Sunday the 4th at Monkey Wrench Brewing. And you can punch the ticket right now. Win the triangle, win the semi, win the title, sit back, crack a cold one, enjoy with all the gold, the Dicks and Carly and 3MP in the middle, victoriously into the night of Suwanee, Georgia.
I mean, that is a very, very big name to be thrown in the tournament.
The biggest name. I know names. That's a big name.
It's not a small name.
Not a small name.
Was not expecting that one. Well, that means our last invite, seed number. I mean, technically there's no more seeding, but the 11th person in this tournament, Aaron Dallas, the blue collar rock star, all of his other little monikers he comes up with. One half of the Seventh Sons, a former SSP tag champion, and now Aaron Dallas is officially in the Jimmy Rave Cup.
If Dallas had as much heart as some of the hillbillies he brings with him to cheer him on, he might have a shot at this thing. Yeah, but I tell you, I don't know. I see a little bit more fire coming out of the little Dallas army that marches around Georgia, chasing him around, than I do out of him sometimes. So I don't know. I've dealt with Aaron Dallas. I'm done with him.
Well, that only leaves the one spot left, and that is the wild card winner. And here is how that's going to happen: February 4th, Monkey Wrench Brewing 6-man scramble match. The winner will be the wild card and will then wrestle immediately once the show starts at 6 o'clock. And that's
Bryce Cannon and somebody else.
And whoever Bryce chooses the other person.
Okay.
So the wild card winner would have to win 4 matches to be crowned the Jimmy Rave Cup winner. I do know 2 of the people that are now involved in the wild card.
Okay, all right.
Taliaferro has positioned to have Trevor Eon in the match.
Oh, so Taliaferro's going to be there.
We don't know if Taliaferro will be there, but he did position to have him.
So Taliaferro, he's obviously not well. Severe burns.
That was brutal. It was water.
Water, yeah.
I mean, according to Donald Jakes, it's holy water.
Holy water from the urinal at El Galaxy Discotheque in Austell, Georgia. But Taliaferro is not in good shape, so he may or may not be there. But Trevor Aon is in.
Trevor Aon is going to be in the wild card scramble. Another name that will be in the wild card scramble: somebody representing the Diamond Sheik. That's all we know.
So he had
Sunny Days.
Sunny Days, and
he also has the business.
Kennedy and Rocker. Right?
And he wrestles too. So, could he throw himself in the scramble match?
Diamond Sheik, that son of a bitch wrestles.
Yes.
He looked like he was in very good shape.
Oh, Diamond Sheik, don't let him fool you. That dude.
First impressions, I don't know.
He is a nefarious rule breaker.
The way that he just bought a microphone out of nowhere.
Richest man in wrestling.
That part was impressive. Yeah. All right. So the Diamond Sheik, Taliaferro. Tell me Donald Jakes doesn't have anybody.
Well, it is January, and he has been making my life a living hell. I've been receiving nothing but phone calls and messages from him since he was suspended. He was suspended. We basically made it that Sean Nelson cannot compete for the championship. We are sticking by that.
Good.
Despite his
Good. Cheating is allowed.
well, he didn't cheat. He just burned a man's face with water.
That's true.
Allegedly, it's water.
Yeah.
But I will say that I do have a meeting on coming up pretty soon with the Georgia Commission. Again, I don't church money goes. That's all I'm saying.
You gotta be kidding.
But the wild card winner of that scramble match does have a disadvantage. They have to win 4 times, but they also have to face Bryce Cannon immediately in the first match of the tournament. So
Okay. Bryce Cannon and somebody else
Right.
who has been listed so far, and there's not a single slouch.
yeah, there's not a single slot.
There's no easy path.
No.
It's not like the Dicks going against Northside, where it's just an easy night at the job. Punch in, punch those guys, punch out, take your titles and go home.
Imagine if Bryce Cannon chose the Kenway in the first round.
I think Bryce is smarter than that. I like to think he's smarter than that. Well, how about that? All right, so that's 2 of the 6 wild cards.
To the 6.
Diamond Sheik representation, Trevor Aon.
I do know that we are waiting very heavily. The matchmaking committee is waiting very heavily matches that have happened in SSP competition. So that does give guys like Dave Stage, Keelan Cole, AWOL, those guys do have a little bit of advantage of getting an external match if they are chosen. So
Keelan Cole headbutted me.
he did, and
If he bleed my own blood.
we don't know exactly who's in that match just yet. That will be we're still weighing that out and all that good stuff. But we do know that at least Trevor Eon and some of the Diamond Sheik is in that match, and it's gonna be quite a fun day on Sunday, February 4th at Monkey Wrench Brewing in Sewanee, Georgia.
Sewanee, Georgia. Bell ring 6:05.
Bell ring at 6:05. The scramble match will take place shortly before 6:05 as we part of our opening the door festivities.
Opening door festivities. All right, so I plan on being at Monkey Wrench Brewing somewhere around 4:30. Get a little lubricated. They'll have on the TV, whatever's on the TV. You can
Pro Bowl that day.
Pro Bowl flag football game. But hey, throw some bean bags, grab a seat, get a good spot by the ring. If you want to stand and mingle and walk around and drink ice cold beer and hang out with 3MP, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to get a good seat, bring your own chair. Tailgate chairs are welcome. And then get ready to have a great time. Get ready to watch some great action, some great athletes, some great competition. Get ready to watch 3MP and Dicks win the tag team titles again, defeat Northside Heroes, leave with our own belts. And then Carly Bravo in the Jimmy Rave Cup. That's exciting.
And with that being said, that is your Jimmy Rave Cup competitors for the first annual Jimmy Rave Cup. And I have nothing else. Do you have any other questions for me?
Hey, Josh, I tell you what, maybe we could do some more business together. And you're welcome here anytime. If you want to talk to the people, if you want to share some thoughts, I think it's good that the fans hear the story from the horse's mouth rather than reading it on some POS website. So, all right, Josh, thank you so much. All right,
Thank you,
I appreciate it. It was good doing business with you, and I will see you on Sunday the 4th at Monkey Wrench up in Sewanee.
4th. We'll see you then.
All right.